Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Real Talk with Ben podcast. And look who's back. Daniel is back once again for, and actually, I'm going to be honest, this was not my idea. He actually brought it up.
Both of us.
It was both of us, but he did initiate it. Which
I was the one who actually was brave enough to say it out loud.
I realized how much he made up my podcast so much better. But yeah, so super excited, super stoked to have you back on. And also, if thank you for tuning in, whether you're listening on Thursday or whether you're listening over the weekend or whenever you're listening, really do appreciate it. And if you're new, my name is Ben. This is my podcast where I just talk about life. I talk about the joys of life, the tough things of life, and hopefully you get some encouragement and some positive attitude out of it as well. So today though, it's a little different. Today we're going to do something a little different because, and I want to let him talk about it a little bit too, but we're going to be starting on my YouTube channel, which is right here. Yeah. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, it sounds really weird, but so yeah, we're going to be starting a series on YouTube that we are both passionate about. And we think that there's maybe a little bit of missing out there in the YouTube world on how to do some certain things and our opinion on certain things. So Daniel, why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about what's going to be happening?
This topic is called Jesus. I mean, no. We are passionate about Jesus. And there's not enough videos on the internet about Jesus.
Yes.
I mean, videos that are actually right and good, not false teachings. No, but both of us are really passionate about cameras and camera gear, photography, videography, etc. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about that. Our experience, our personal preference, what we how
enjoy.
How much we enjoy and everything related to cameras and camera gear, and just the different ministries that we've been doing with this. So we don't want it to be just like, okay, it's only about cameras and we leave everything else out of it.
No, because Jesus is a part of our life.
Yes,
and we want
he
you
is
to
the center of our
we
life.
want you to know that this is the reason. And it's funny too, because we were talking about, like, before we were recording this, we were saying, like, we're both in the same country for the first time, like, for a long period of time. We said, why not? You know, like, we love what we do, but I think also our goal, and we talked about this a little bit, is our goal with this is to help you realize you do not have to be really rich. You don't have to have all the high tech gear. I know it's very easy to watch, and we'll get into this episode, but it's very easy to look at all the people that are doing really, really well and say, I need all this fancy equipment. I can tell you right now, we'll talk about what I'm shooting on right now. It's probably a fraction of what some of these guys pay for, but yet the quality, I still aim to have really good quality. And so we'll get into that this episode. So that's gonna be our goal. And our goal right now is to record, we'll record a video a week and we'll have it out on Wednesdays is our aim goal. And we're hoping for feedback too. I know he's really good with just, he's going to be more of the technical side of things. He's very good with the technical side of things. And I really have that. I try to flow with it, and go with it and make it easier for the simpletons of us that don't have the language down. But yeah, so Daniel, why don't you start off with, I don't know, you start off with what you want to talk about with camera stuff, maybe your experience or that sort of thing.
Yeah. My experience. Yeah. And just as Ben said, right now, we're looking for your feedback. So if you have any questions, you want some topics that you want us to talk about, feel free to let us know. If you're like, man, what in the world are these guys doing?
We're missionaries.
They should have no, but like, they should have done this, or there's so much easier ways to do this and this with photography or making videos.
Let us know.
We're learning
too.
I did not learn this. I didn't go to school.
Really. Yeah.
I taught myself and I let my mistakes.
It's the best way, and it's the best way to learn is from other people. Like, I've learned so much from him, and I know he learned from people as well to get better, and that's how we get better. And I think, it's funny because, you guys, first off, you guys thank you so much for your response on him being on last couple episodes, not last episode, but last week's episodes. I can tell you, like, the response was awesome, and just seeing people that really loved hearing his story. And we want to tie that into this. We didn't get here by just doing what we do. This is God working, and God put these joys in our heart and what we love to use it for. So like he said, everything we do is going to have Jesus focus around it. And these episodes are going to be the same way. We're going to tell you how we use it for ministry or how we want to use it for ministry. We're going to be truthful with you and we're going to be honest with you. And so this episode is really going to be just, like I said, an experience based. It's going to be just the opening, it's going to be kind of the intro to what we're doing.
Introduction. Yeah.
So that way, when you tune into next week's episode of the series, you'll be like, oh, okay, I get it, and share it with friends too, as we're going through this. So continue with your experience.
Also the reason why we wanted to do this is because you might be watching this and be like, okay, they are saying all these things about cameras and camera gear, lenses, all that. Why in the world should I listen to them? So we wanted to have this as something that you can start getting to know us and see our experience and our past with all this
and what we
this
love
whole topic. So my experience, oh man.
His is longer than mine. Mine's more shorter than his, I think. But I guess you were kind of forced into it, though, weren't you?
My experience with taking pictures and videos is it all started. I'm not sure how much I shared last time I was here. You shared a
little bit about how like coming here, we talked about you getting involved with it. I don't think you went into detail of how you did it.
So the important details about that is that, so I came here to World of Life to serve here for short term in November of 2014. And
that's a long time ago, actually.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Especially depending on when you're watching. If you're watching in 2025,
it's a very long time ago.
It was a long time ago, obviously. Math, remember?
Oh,
I'm a mathematician.
Dear Lord, bring it out again.
No, but so I came here in November 2014, and in January or February of 2015, when I came back, we had a missions conference. And you know how our campus, it looks so beautiful, especially in the winter when it's covered with snow and
it
everything.
looks even more beautiful now if you watch my videos. Just saying.
Yeah. Advertisement. No, and so my dad had he bought a camera earlier, which is a Canon Rebel SL1 in the US, which that's for everyone else outside of the US, it's a 100D, Canon 100D.
Yeah. Because the US wants to be different. That's the only
US uses everything different. No, but I mean, it's a mid-tier camera, especially
it's a DSLR, which we will get into details on that in our series.
Yes. So I asked him if I can use that to just have it with me and take some pictures. And, obviously family knows about everything that happens in the family. And my father's cousin, who allowed me to come here and who opened up the opportunity.
She's a very amazing person.
Yes. She was one of the translators for the missions conference. And since she knew that I had a camera with me, she asked me if I could take a few pictures about her translating for her newsletter as a missionary to send out to supporters and stuff like that. And I was like, sure, why not? I'm here to help. Everything was on automatic. Like I had no idea how to use a camera.
Which that's how all of us start out too.
Yes, yes. I took some pictures with my phone, nothing
Classic.
great but just because everyone takes pictures with their phones. So I took some pictures of her translating, and then I was like, I have this camera. We have this event. We have we were playing volleyball between meetings when we had a free afternoon, which was insane because it was January, and we played volleyball outside. It was.
It's stupid.
Crazy. Yeah. And I was like, I'm just going to take some pictures there. I'm going to take some pictures in the other meetings. And not necessarily because I was like, wow, this meeting is just so good. I want to have some memories of it, because I did it because I just want to experience what it is like to use a camera and just experiment with it.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And then I edited them. Obviously I was like, well, these pictures look okay, but I think I can make them better. Something
else you learned.
Yes. And so I started kind of learning there how to edit pictures by myself. And I don't know who was it that saw it, but they were like, we can just post it as the official pictures of World of Life Hungary for our missions conference. I was like, sure. Why not? I mean, sure, it's nothing fancy, it's nothing to boast about, but why not? If World of Life wants to use it, let them use it. And so then later on that year, I took some pictures in some other events, and then they asked me to be the photographer and video guy for our camp. So I took the pictures for our summer camp for the next 2 years, which was exhausting. if you ever been a photographer in a camp by yourself,
it's like running around like a cartoon character and you don't have a break. It's basically kind of what it's like.
because like
You have to be everywhere
I had
every
no
time.
I had no experience with how things work, and that was my first summer in the camp as a
Yeah.
volunteer as well. So I wasn't as familiar with the whole program and the whole setup and what's happening when and what are the different segments of camp and what is important, what is not that is important. And so basically what I did is that I was taking pictures every day nonstop. I was just outside walking around taking pictures of the same thing every single day, because I like, I took a picture today that was good about, I don't know, the baseball instruction. But what if tomorrow when I go out, I can take a really good photo, and I would regret if I would not take the picture.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna be out there all the time. I'm gonna take pictures the whole day. When there's a program, I'm gonna be there with the camera. And then at night, when everyone is asleep, I'm gonna be in the studio. I'm gonna edit the pictures and select the good ones. Which meant that for those 7. We had 7 weeks of camp. Yeah. For that 7 weeks, I was so from like 8 in the morning until maybe 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I was outside walking around taking pictures all the time. And then after that, I had like a little bit of rest. And then from maybe 10 p.m. until 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, I was just going through the pictures. I was selecting the good ones. I started editing them. I was also editing the weekly recap videos, which had to be done by Friday afternoon. And man, that was exhausting. Like doing that for 7 weeks, 6 days a week. There was one break day, thank God. That was really exhausting. Most of the time I was just sleeping in the studio.
Yeah.
I just pulled I'm not kidding. I pulled 3 chairs together because I'm tall. I need at least 3 chairs. And I was
Tall
just
people
laying
problems.
Yeah, I was laying down on that and yeah, it was so funny.
And I think too, what's really cool is like, just like for you, it was, as I'm adjusting the audio, sorry. For you, it was experience. And I think, and that's what I think both of us have done. And so that's kind of cool. And I think the one thing that Daniel said and that I thought was really interesting, and I think that you all need to take away from, is that he didn't learn via, oh, I'm going to do really, really well. If you heard in that, it was him trying things and him saying, okay, I want to edit these because I want them to be better. And it's kind of interesting because I'm in a similar sense of my experience. For me, I'm literally not doing it as long as he has. I honestly didn't really think about doing video or anything. If you know my testimony, you know that I started YouTube. So I didn't even start with photography first, and I didn't even start with video. I started with YouTube, which is, if you really want to go humor yourself, go watch my first episode, some of my first videos on YouTube. It is atrocious. But what was really cool about that is during that time was when I lost my grandpa. And that's when I found video, and I found the power of doing something that I was confident in, and
you can express yourself.
And I didn't feel like anyone was judging me. It was like the first time in my life where I did something that I'm like, I don't care if people judge me because it's my art. It's I'm creating. And like, that's something I want to tell you guys is like, video creating, photo editing, taking photos is art. Don't let your family that tease you about it. Trust me, I was there. I had family that teased me about doing videos and stuff. But you have to take it seriously. You have to just do it because it's fun and enjoy it. And so that's my journey, was I started doing that. And then I took a break, after my grandpa passed away and then my cousin, I did some more videos and I kind of took a break. I would randomly do videos when I come over here. Mm-hmm. I would take some videos with my phone. But I didn't have a camera until last May. So I've only had a camera for about a year. An actual camera, which I shoot on, which is Canon M50, which we'll get into details in some of our series. And I love it. It was definitely a beginner, camera.
Like an entry level.
Yep. An entry level, mirrorless camera, which I prefer, than DSLR. And we'll get more details in that later. But, and so the reason I bring that up is like, I was very off and on my YouTube channel. Up until last May, I would like put a video, like maybe like once every 3 months, usually just recaps of our trip. And then I decided, I remember it was like, I was working at Cedarville and I said, you know what, I'm getting more money now. And I was like, I really want to get back into it. I remember the peace I had and the joy I had doing it. So I got back into it. And I remember I remember actually when I bought this camera that I'm shooting on right now, he was the first one to message me on Instagram. And he said, dude, like he was super pumped because like, one, it was a nice camera and what you guys use, it was nice. And so, but it was also like, I think he could tell like, okay, I'm serious about this. It wasn't just something I was doing. And so for me, photos actually started coming at about the same time. I started taking pictures of like our team that I worked with at Cedarville. I started taking pictures of little retreats we would have on the weekends. We'd go to Columbus or stuff like that. But videos where it really took off. And I would say the Bowden experience itself didn't really take off probably until I'd say August. I started getting more, people watching and stuff. And I want to make something clear is like, part of the reason why I do YouTube and why I love doing YouTube is because it wants to express yourself, like you said. But I think the second thing for me is that I get to, create something that people can enjoy. I've always said that I never do this for the views. I don't do this for the amount of subscribers. I mean, it's nice, but I do this because I know this is what God's put a passion on my heart. And I think that's the difference between Daniel and I is he doesn't necessarily have a YouTube channel, but he still runs YouTube. He still does videos for our organization. For me, I'm more of a solo guy. I still use it though to do ministry. I tend to use it as a way to help promote what they do. If you guys ever watch my videos, especially last summer, I did 13, 14 vlogs, I think it was.
Probably, yeah.
And I did a camp tour with him. And my goal has been in the Bowden experience. If you ever go onto my YouTube page, it's faith, family, fun. The goal of my channel is always in every video and every photography that I do is it's faith oriented. It's about family, but it's also to have fun. Because as Christians, we believe that everything revolves around Christ. And that's what I love to do about photos. That's what I love to do about video. It's just fun, and I think sometimes we think as Christians, we can't have fun, but for some reason, I remember some old person telling me that when I was younger and I was like, what do you mean? I want to have fun. And we have fun doing it. And so that's a little bit of my story. I know it's a little different than his, but what we want you to get from this is that we are two ordinary guys that just love, some would say we're ordinary, that love what we do. But we want to help you be confident in what you do, love what you do, and have a purpose for what you do. And I know you'll touch on that here too, of maybe even a little bit of what you think so great about doing photography and videography in your sense, in your eyes.
Yeah. I have to admit, I personally prefer photography.
Yeah.
Compared to videography. And even photography has its own subcategories. Mm-hmm. You can do portrait photos, which is, taking pictures of people.
Or Dave Bowden, you can do sports photos.
Or you can do sports photography. You can do architecture. You can do cars. You can do nature.
Landscape.
Yeah. You can, there's like a whole variety of categories.
It's definitely not as wide as like video is very more narrow. And so like, I think that's why photography is so much more interesting because you have so much a wider range, I think, than you do with video.
Yeah. And my personal favorite of all of that is landscape and nature photography.
I knew he was going to say that.
I'm actually, I don't have that much of an experience in the other categories as much as I have in landscape and nature.
You just love that. You love being in nature.
And I do love that. First of all, yes, I love being in nature, but just in general, seeing all the things that God has created and not just to see it by myself, but sharing with other people.
Yeah.
That's like a whole other level of joy for me. I just love doing it. Like if you go outside, you look at the flowers, you look at the mountains, you look like anything, what nature is.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on where you're living, obviously. If you live in New York City, nature might be a little bit different for you.
And I think too, something that I love about Daniel is that when he does his photos, like, and I think this is something you can probably touch on this, is that like you make sure like it doesn't always have to be the greatest shot. but you want to keep practicing. I think you can probably test that. Practicing, whether you're doing video or photography, is important. You can't just go out one day and go, I'm going to be the best photographer in the world.
Yeah. I mean,
it's like anything.
I think you linked my Instagram site down there in the description. If you go there and you look at the pictures that I've taken, especially if you go back to older pictures, you can see that they are not necessarily good pictures. But they are things that I was like, well, this is just but
it's cool for you to like look at and go, I've gotten better. I think that's another thing I love. Like I'm telling you, go watch my first video on my YouTube channel.
Like you literally recorded with the webcam of your computer.
And it's bad. It was like 420, or is that even possible? It was bad. So I'm just saying, and that's also, I guess kind of what we want to touch on in this series too, is like, you don't have to have the equipment. I know we said at the beginning, and we'll get into that. But I would say, one thing that he said that he loves about photography, and I would say for me, like I'm still learning photography. I still I'm very raw with that. I feel like I'm better as a videographer. I feel like that's more of my comfort zone. But what I do love about photos is like some of your worst shots. Oh, I am so sorry. I bumped the mic. Some of the worst shots sometimes can end up turning out to be pretty cool. I know, like for me, the most I use, this is going to sound terrible. I use photography mainly for thumbnails, which sounds so terrible, but I love having cool thumbnails, and I think taking pictures are really good. But I know for him, I have a question. It's more of a statement for us as we're doing this. What would you kind of say is like something you want someone to gain from us doing this series? What is something that maybe would be something they might not think of, that you would think they want to gain from this, us doing this and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, obviously the fact that we want to make sure, like we want to provide some technical information and education. Obviously that's a main part of it, but also just to see that like we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And maybe you go to my Instagram. I don't have it open. I barely use Instagram. Yeah. The last picture I posted was like 2 years ago.
We just looked at that actually.
2018 August. But it's a good picture, Yeah. But basically, if you look at it, you see that I made tons of mistakes, and I will testify. The pictures that I took on the first missions conference.
Yeah.
It might not say a lot to you yet. It will in the future. But for some of the pictures, the ISO that I used, 12,800.
Really?
The highest ISO, because I was because I was like, if
for most of these people, they probably have, some might have a clue, but we'll get into that later. I was
like, I'm going to use the shutter speed.
That's the best. Which you think is the best.
Well, I mean, sorry, not the inside photography, but the outside, because we were playing volleyball. I was like, man, if I used one of 100 second for the shutter
it's going to be
like, but there's so much motion.
The combination,
though, 1 of 4,000. I'm going to go big with that, but then it's too dark, so I have to compensate with the ISO, which just bumped up to 12,800.
Yeah.
And all the pictures that I took there are super noisy. Like I still have the pictures, and I look at them sometimes.
When we mean noisy, it just means kind of like grainy, fuzzy.
Yeah.
It's like you watch TV and it gets a little fuzzy. Like that's what we mean by noisy.
We're gonna go to more details probably in the future.
Yeah,
we don't really know yet what.
And that's a great segue.
Topics are gonna be.
Yeah, that's
about.
A great segue, because so these are the ideas. These are our rough sketch ideas of what we're gonna do. We would love to cover the basics of cameras, the basics of, because I think we have to start there. We have to start at the basics, terminology, stuff like that. But we'd also, like we said, we want your feedback, because we really don't know where to necessarily start, because
what do you want?
And so our goal is to do different videos. We're going to do different gear reviews, what we like to use. We also are going to talk about different things we probably recommend that you use. Like if you're a beginner, what you recommend, because like you said, you don't have to have the most expensive stuff to be really good. Like my camera alone is a beginner level, but yet I've felt that my video, and like it also depends on the lens, which we'll get into detail as well. So we want to go through these different things to help you maybe get started, or maybe you're a veteran or someone that's intermediate and you're like, how can I adjust my game? How can I, maybe you're a video guy, but you want to do photography, or maybe you're a photo person. So that's our goal. Our goal is to get it to where we are a place you can come and you can come to these videos, these short gear videos, these short tutorial videos, just little things here and there that we can put out for you that gives you that sense of like, okay, I can do this, or wow, these guys suck. Either way, we're here to help and to be the best we can, and why not? Yeah, and I think that's a big thing. Anything else you want to add with that?
Yeah. So there are a lot of YouTube channels that I follow, whether it's Peter McKinnon,
oh, yeah, here we go.
Potato Jet,
Matty
Haboya,
there's a few others.
A lot more.
And we love these guys. Don't get me wrong. We love them to death.
And I love their content. Tyler Stelman.
But where are we at though with them?
If you're looking at them, like
they've been doing it for a long time.
They've been doing this for 10 years as professional YouTubers, for example. They have a huge set of gears.
They have things they don't use that we might wish they would donate to a ministry.
So basically what we are doing is more of the entry level side of the spectrum. And we want to give you some insight about how you can be productive and be efficient in this category, in this price range.
Yeah, whatever you're doing,
because you might not have $10,000 for buying a camera, just because why not? Because you want to try photography for yourself.
But it's even like the idea of too is like wherever you're at, like and wherever. And like whatever you might be doing, maybe you're just literally going to come to maybe you're listening to this and you might come to one video because that video fits you. Then please do. Yeah. Our goal is not to overwhelm you. We want to do it kind of like maybe how we would learn and like how we would just want that simple, because I'm going to be honest, whenever I watch YouTube, there's not a lot of things on the technical or like the very basic side, because I think a lot of people think, oh,
they assume that you should
but we want to help you. And I'm telling you, even if you're a veteran in photography and videography, this still could help you, because I can tell you, I've learned stuff from him that I thought, oh, I don't need to know that. But it's something that you realize, oh, and maybe it's gear that we talk about. I mean, we'll talk about lights, lenses, microphones.
We're going to talk about softwares as well. Yeah. Probably.
And maybe a little bit of editing. So like I said, we would love your feedback. As we finish up this episode and as we kind of finish up, we just want to kind of once again just tell you what's going to go on every Wednesday. I might, if we have like maybe a short tech review video, I might throw that in on the weekend. I haven't really decided on that one yet, but every Wednesday there'll be a new episode of our series out. Episode 1 will be coming out next Wednesday, and we'll kind of go on from there. So tune into my YouTube channel. If you love this podcast, I'm still gonna be doing this podcast. It just won't be focused on this. It'll be separate. Back to the normal Real Talk with Ben. Anyways. So yeah.
With all these crazy people.
Yeah. If you love this podcast, go ahead and favorite it on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And if you love this video and you want to see our series coming up, go ahead and click the like button and then subscribe down below and hit the notification bell, right? Bam. So that way you can stay tuned with what's going on. Yep. So once again, thank you so much. We appreciate your support on this new endeavor we're going on, but then also just the support you've given me over this time. Yeah.
And feel free to ask questions.
Absolutely.
Leave comments. Let us know what do you think.
Absolutely. About this. And so once again, I want to remind you that God is faithful and you can trust him. And as always, we'll talk next time.